Hello, everybody. I'm Josh Shernoff here for FITE, and I am joined by the reigning Impact Wrestling Tag Team Champions, Doc Gallows, Karl Anderson, the Good Brothers. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thanks for having us, good brother. Here we are.
Thank you.
Boys are here, ready to rock and roll. Thanks for having us. FITE TV, Daddy. Appreciate it.
Hey, this Saturday on FITE TV at Impact Wrestling's Hard to Kill, you team with a good brother in his own right, the reigning AEW World Champion, Kenny Omega, to take on the Motor City Machine Guns and Impact World Champion Rich Swann. And from where I'm sitting, you have to imagine that your team are the odds-on favorites to win based on sheer size alone. Where is your confidence going into this match?
I would say our confidence is at an all-time high. Yeah, they're a great team. You got the world champion in Rich Swann. You got a legendary team in the annals of Impact Wrestling history. It has dream match written all over it, but we're riding high. We're coming in hot from Kenny's debut on Impact Wrestling to us making the surprise jump and invading AEW last week. The momentum's on the side of the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, we don't lack in the confidence area ever, and especially now with getting a chance to get in the ring with our good brother Kenny Omega, someone we haven't really got a chance to be in the ring with in a long time. And then coming off the heels of what we did on Dynamite and being the talk of the wrestling world, the Good Brothers seem to do that every now and then, every 6 months or so. We decide to splash ourselves into something big, but this is exciting, man. Hard to Kill. Like we're really pumped up about this, and it's live on FITE TV. This is a big deal.
Do you think that that's going to work in your favor? You mentioned it's been a really long time, but there is a huge history between all three of you together and being able to team together. Is that going to work in your favor?
100%. It's been over 5 years since we were in a Japanese ring together, but we're getting used to each other again here in the States, and that chemistry doesn't go away. Sure. Like I said, you're talking about three great talents on the other side of the ring, but they don't have the chemistry and they don't have the history together that we do. So I think you're going to see it all come into fruition and be pretty damn awesome Saturday night at Hard to Kill.
This has been quite the year for the two of you, to say the least. Between arriving at Impact in the style in which you did, you won the tag titles from the North. We can't forget about Talking Shop-A-Mania and Talking Shop-A-Mania 2. I would get in a lot of trouble if I didn't bring those up. And hey, they were right here on FITE.
Absolutely.
What has this year been like? Before we talk about Talking Shop, what has this year been like for you? You both have, long careers behind you, long careers ahead of you as well. But what has this past 2020 been like?
It's been positive, as crazy as the world's been, and I think it started off kind of I guess you could say it would have been rocky, but we were in WrestleMania, for crying out loud. And then I guess you could say it looked like it was going to be sour, but I almost feel like the fact that we left the WWE is almost in our minds, between Gallows and I, it's almost kind of forgotten because everything else has been so positive now that we've almost put that completely behind us, and like we weren't even there. We've ran 2 Talking Shop-A-Manias, that just some of the most fun we've ever had in our career. We debuted at Slammiversary, which just set insane records and was some of the most fun we ever had inside of a professional wrestling ring, even when there was no people or no fans inside the arena. To be able to do Bound for Glory for the first time in my career, and to be able to do all the things that we did, especially with AEW and with and Kenny and the Young Bucks, and it's just been it's all been such a whirlwind of positivity that it's been nothing but up.
Yeah, he couldn't have said it much better. It's been all good for us. The only sour note of any of it is the fact that they forgot to mail us our Slammy Award for the match of the year after we left the company and joined 2 new ones and started our own pay-per-view company. So that's the only sourness we have. But if that's the worst part, then that's a good thing.
You know what?
We even want to Slammy.
Yeah, the post office has been very slow lately.
And maybe that's part of it.
Maybe sure
that's why they left us off the mailing list. That makes sense.
I think it's in the mail. I'm sure it's in the mail. It was a top priority.
Yeah. Absolutely, I should say.
Oh, I loved the making of Talking Shop-A-Mania that's on FITE, those specials. I always love being able to see any behind the scenes stuff, but to be able to see that. So I do a show every week with the Blue Meanie, and it seems like we just screw around when we're doing our show, but there is so much time and work that goes into it behind the scenes to put
Absolutely.
a show together. That really showed everybody what, I mean, the finished product was exactly what you wanted it to be, to look like you turned a camera on and just were having fun, but it really showed the behind the scenes. What were some of the top challenges, would you say, about doing this and doing it in a pandemic, no less?
I mean, it was stressful, man. And as the first one got closer, the stress just continued to build. And then there's different ingredients that added into the stress of the second one. And it's getting all this talent, negotiating with them, and then getting them traveled to Georgia. And then on the second one to Georgia and to Los Angeles, and to organize everything and to self-produce the entire thing with a small shoestring crew. And then, hit those deadlines because, our buddy Mike Weber over at FITE TV, he's a little easier on us than some of the other pay-per-view companies. But, I mean, they got deadlines, and if you don't hit,
Sure,
then you are screwed. So we felt the pressure the entire time. And, luckily we were successful enough that when there's a 3 or a 2.5 or whatever we come up with next, we're going to feel all that pressure again. And I think that the most rewarding feeling is that relief when we watch these things on FITE TV and we see them trending on Twitter, and we realize that we've done something to maybe, brighten a gloomy time during a pandemic when people have some not so bright spots in life. And we wanted to take a break from it and let them get a good laugh. And what's beautiful about it is any character can come to the alternate universe of Talking Shop of Mania, and it doesn't affect the big LG and the machine gun on Sirius Wrestling TV if Chad Too Bad and Sex Ferguson get their nutsacks ripped off on Talking Shop of Mania. That's what's fun about what I think that we've come up with, and it gives people a little bit of an outlet. So,
yeah.
There you go. That
was no, so like I think when we did the first one, the most stressful thing was I remember doing it and we were laughing and we thought it was funny, and I remember laughing a lot. And then just the thought of like, fuck, man, is this funny or is this not funny? I don't know if this is funny. Are we losing our minds in this pandemic? Are we not funny? Is this, but it's funny to me? Are these, just all that? How is this funny? And then when I realized that that it actually was funny, that's just being able to be creative. COVID's been so shitty for so many reasons, but somehow, some way, we've pulled some positives out of it.
So Saturday, of course, Hard to Kill, right here on FITE, 8 p.m. Eastern time. After Saturday, what's next? Other than Sunday, of course. What's the goal? What's the goal in all of this? Is it bringing Kenny to Impact? You going to AEW? Do you have a game plan, or is this just kind of, hey, we're going to take over the whole business at this point?
I think that this has been planned. The seeds have been planted since we originally left New Japan. There was always an end game to come back together, and there were a lot of moving parts that had to take place for it to happen. So I think that this was kind of always the plan, and you can feel the momentum from the time the pandemic hit. And people look at the negative of a WWE release, but I think we were maybe smart enough and lucky enough and hardworking enough and too stubborn to not take the negative, to start out by, we parodied the WrestleMania Boneyard match, and that started the momentum. And then, the arrival at Slammiversary, and then rolling into Bound for Glory, and then Kenny's surprise arrival on Impact Wrestling, and then our surprise arrival on AEW. We're just going to keep coming, and we're just going to keep hitting, and that's exactly what you got to do. It's all about momentum. And when we feel it this week, it's Tuesday. I don't know when this thing's dropping, but Impact on Access TV starts tonight at 8 p.m. It's all part of Wrestle Week on Access. It's been going, I believe, since yesterday with replays of Bound for Glory for free on television. You got Impact in 60 tonight. We go off the air. They're going to show a vintage machine gun match, a vintage Doc match from back in the day. So, it's a big TV week for us, and we keep feeling the momentum build. And then, you roll into Wednesday as AEW, and who knows what happens on AEW? Who knows what the fallout is with Kenny and the Young Bucks? And then Friday night, we have Badass Movie Night with the Good Brothers, where we're going to host the Kickboxer on Access TV. 7 p.m. Access TV on Saturday is the live countdown pre-show to Hard to Kill. Then you can flip right over to FITE TV, and you're watching live, where we're going to deliver a kick-ass main event. I feel like we're going to win, and then I feel like the momentum continues. And, who knows where we show up next? Who knows what happens next? But we ain't stopping. We're just getting started, and that's what's cool about all this.
Yeah, don't forget the Impact celebration that we're doing the day of Hard to Kill. 11 a.m. You got a bunch of superstars that are going to be able to. You're going to
You
be
can
able to
talk
meet.
to us direct.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
you can talk to us direct, talk to us live. You sign up for that at impactwrestling.com. But it's all part of the momentum. We don't mind being busy. We love it, especially in a pandemic time like it's been. We've been itching to get out and to crack some heads and to get people talking again. And we've been lucky enough to do it. It's been very cool.
Yeah, you definitely have. I mean, you mentioned earlier being, the talk of the wrestling world, and every 6 months or so, you guys will do something to kind of get everybody talking. You really have, though. I mean, between what's been going on in Impact, what happened on AEW, another thing you have, a different part of the wrestling community is the wrestling action figure community. You guys they just showed, I believe it's Super 7, putting
Super
out
7,
2 action figures of the two of you. How did that come about? I know, obviously, I'm assuming there's something having to do with Matt Cardona and Brian Myers, but I think that is so cool as a fan of action figures myself. I think that is so cool to be able to just go out and make have your own made, not your WWE action figures, where I'm assuming at some point you'll get them for another company as well. But I think that's so cool. How did that come about?
That was part of, man, ever since April, ever since we got that call, we didn't stop. It's been tireless. It's been working on this from our Talking Shop podcast. New ones drop every Sunday. We just hit a banger. But we started talking about this like back in May. We got on the phone with the Super 7 guys, and Myers and Cardona, they did hold our hands because that's their side of the industry. But Super 7 looked at us and thought, hey, these guys are hot. Let's do something with them. We're toyetic. That is, as Brian loves. I stole the word that he taught me. But our timing couldn't have been better because, even we didn't know in the planning stages that we're going to come and drop this bombshell at AEW and drop Jon Moxley and all that the week that these figures are going to drop. And you can pre-order them now at super7.com. It's the first action figures we've ever been able to be that hands-on. Like, Karl and I were able to choose what we wanted, and the beer cans included, the Talking Shop heavyweight titles included. We could have never gotten away with that anywhere else. So it's nice for a company like Impact to be behind that. And it's cool for me too, because I'll go ahead and drop this. I'll probably get in trouble, but like, we got the micro brawlers coming out. They're coming to shopimpact.com just in the next week or two. I'm in series 1, and when I'm there, the machine gun is never far behind. He's usually leading the charge. So like, we got a lot of cool stuff on the merchandise end coming out. You can buy our Talking Shop wine, tnsmania.com. It's got all things to do with the podcast, different merchandise. So, man, you think, are we spread too thin? I don't think it can be thin enough. I think that this brand is just going to keep growing, the brand of the Good Brothers and the Talking Shop brand. And that's all we ever wanted, man. So I honestly can say I feel like we're happier than we've ever been. Even when we did have those, the WWE deal and all that, we didn't have the type of freedom to express ourselves creatively like we do right now. And it's probably the most rewarding time in our whole careers, I would think.
Yeah, for toy collectors, it's the very first machine gun. It's basically the first machine gun figure, Karl Machine Gun Anderson figure, because the rest, they never let me use the machine gun in WWE. But I even was so I don't know what it's called when you in a fantasy, I guess. In my mind, I was so over in New Japan that I had a figure, and Brian and Matt were like, no, you didn't, bud. And I was like, oh,
that's amazing.
I guess I can't lie to figure guys. So I never had a machine gun figure. This is my first one. So if you're a toy guy, why not pick it up? Because it's the very first one in the line.
Yeah, Doc, you had mentioned the brand, about your brand, and I think that is such an interesting thing. You talked about getting released from WWE. So many people see that, whether it's fans or the talent themselves, as oh no, what am I going to do now? I'm out of this big machine, forgetting even all the other places you can go to work. But what you guys did, and same with Matt and Brian as well, you built a brand. You built it before, during, and now continuing it after. And I think that is that's something that everybody should look at. Everybody should try and learn from. Not everyone can do it, but it's something that everybody should at least strive for.
It's an interesting point, because like when I got released the first time in 2010, I was 26 years old, and I didn't get sad that time either when to hit the ground running, but all you could do was go everywhere you could possibly go and wrestle. Mm-hmm. The world's different 10 years later with the dawn of social media and all these other assets, and just we're more seasoned, and we started cold calling people, cold called you guys, cold called the big pay-per-view companies and said, how do we put a pay-per-view on? How do we do this? How do we do that? How do we make a wine? How do we make a whiskey? How do we get this merchandise out? How do we continuously grow? And we're not rear view mirror guys, so we didn't take our foot off the gas pedal, so to speak. And it's been rewarding so far, but I think it's going to be a lot even more cooler. We're going to be able to deliver a lot more entertaining content to all the fans out there. Because let's face it, we're all content monsters now, baby. So It's fun to be part of the party.
Yeah, that's what we always say too. With people always say missed opportunities, whatever. But like when WWE picked us up, like we had a built-in audience that had followed us, all over the world, and we had a worldwide audience that had followed us. And so when we left WWE, it wasn't any kind of depression or like, what the fuck are we gonna do? It was like we knew what we were gonna do. We knew that we had all this anyway, and then all they did was give us a little more extra butter to throw onto this
fame.
big ass steak, baby. But yeah, man, it's been this year's been so it's almost been busier in a way from mentally, because we've just been constantly on calls, and Impact is I can't thank them enough too, because they picked us up right out the gate and got us and put us right to work. Scott D'Amore was banging our phones about 6 or 7 minutes after the news got released, maybe before I got the call. But but yeah, no, Impact holds a special place now through all this for sure.
Well, I'm really happy for you guys with everything you've been able to accomplish and continue to accomplish. I want to thank you again for taking the time to speak with me here for FITE. Good luck this Saturday. The event is Impact Wrestling's Hard to Kill. It's this Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on FITE. I'm Josh Shernoff. They are the Good Brothers, and we will see you Saturday at Hard to Kill.
Oh, hell yeah.